A fiery message. Governor Ron DeSantis says his state will not comply with the recent changes made to Title IX by President Biden, who expanded the definition of sex discrimination to include gender identity.
We are not going to let Joe Biden undermine the rights of parents, and we are not going to let Joe Biden abuse his constitutional authority to try to impose these policies on us here in Florida. We will not comply.
The new Biden rule would block states from requiring public school students use bathrooms that match their biological sex, which 11 states have in place, including Florida. And joining us now with this and more is Parents Defending Education's Director of Outreach, Erika Sanzi. Good morning to you, Erika. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Good morning, Jan. Good to see you.
So tell us more about these new Title IX rules and what this means ultimately for the future of girls and women's sports.
Yeah, this Title IX rewrite has been in the works for quite a while under the Biden administration, and it really is fair to say that they have completely blown up a 52-year-old law and turned it on its head. The entire basis of Title IX, it's a 37-word law, and it simply states that educational institutions that receive federal funding cannot discriminate on the basis of sex. So Title IX is not only a college protection, it begins in preschool and it runs all the way through college. It is also not only something that protects women and girls, it protects everybody from sex discrimination. And this rewrite, by expanding the definition of sex discrimination to include gender identity, it means that anyone can self-identify into any single-sex space or any sport or any activity simply by stating that they are the opposite sex.
And interestingly, Biden did threaten to put in a policy that blocked schools from a ban on transgender athletes. Why was this provision, though, put on hold?
Well, for one reason, this is really radioactive in terms of the polling. This issue is so unpopular. It's like over 70% of Americans do not agree that people should be able to self-identify into, locker rooms and bathrooms. And they are also very opposed to males being allowed to play sports against the girls. So because it's so toxic politically, they're claiming that they didn't take action. But the reality is there's no way that they could allow schools to have these bans, because the way that they define sex discrimination in this rewrite, and they've gone into court already using their interpretation, and they have claimed that separating sports by sex is illegal.
Well, the revisions to the law broaden the definition of sex-based discrimination to include gender identity. So what does this mean? What First Amendment problems does this rewrite to Title IX face?
Yeah, so in addition to the total lack of protection, fairness, and dignity around girls and women and single-sex spaces in sports, there's a major First Amendment problem with it, because in this over 1,500 pages, by the way, in this rewrite, it compels speech. It says that everybody must play along. So whatever pronoun somebody wants to be called by, and even if that changes day to day, and even if it's a word that doesn't even exist in the English language, what they say is if that you don't comply, if you do not play along and call people by whatever they want to be called by, even one single instance of that is grounds for disciplinary action.
Now, in a separate story that we're following out of Massachusetts, I want to ask you about this Watertown Public School, this middle school student that created a hit list of families and staff. There's actually a re-entry process for the student to return to school. That's already begun by the school district. Tell us more, and has the student's identity been released?
I don't think the student's identity has been released, and that is correct. The schools are not allowed by law to release the identity of students when situations blow up. But this student, who is reportedly a trans identifying student, had a hit list of, I believe, 45 names that includes students and staff. So the idea was that these were the people that this person wanted to kill. And when we got wind of this, we decided to get our hands on the internal communications that must have gone on when, emails back and forth. And what we saw was total concern. All of the concern in the emails was for the perpetrator. It was about how are we going to re-enter them into the school? How are we going to show empathy for the creator? We need to create more groups for LGBTQ students. And so again, what we were seeing was outsized concern for the perpetrator, almost turning them into the victim. And then the people who had been put on the list somehow are made out to be the bad guys. And that has not gone over well with many people in the community.
So what's been the response from some of the parents, students, and teachers there?
We've definitely seen and read emails of parents that are very, very concerned about the safety of their students. They do not think that this was handled well. They think that the focus was obviously much too much on the person who had made the hit list and not on the kids whose names were on it. I mean, the community is a bit divided. You're always going to have some people that are siding with the administration on this. But then a whistleblower just came out yesterday, so stories have been updated. And so it sounds like there's actually much more tension in the schools because of the students now needing to be in class with this person who had put their names on this list. So it seems like this may still be, a situation that has not been totally, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think it's totally over. I think that there's still frustrations going on in the school building.
Right. A lot more to come on this. All right. Parents Defending Education's Erika Sanzi, great to see you on this Friday. Have a great weekend, and thanks for joining us.
You too, Jan. Thanks.